Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about what is inflation and what is the Federal Reserve. If you're new here, I'm Adam Vernon. I'm an investment advisor representative. And on this channel, we talk about different financial topics and different investing topics. Okay, so first off, we're going to be talking about what inflation is. Simply put, inflation is just an increase in the general price level of goods and services in an economy. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, why does inflation occur? Well, the really short answer is a shortage of goods. Now let me give you an example. Okay, so for our example, let's say there's 5 apples and they cost $1 a piece. And there's 10 people who want the apples, so there's not enough to go around. And each person is willing to spend $3 on the apple, even though they only cost $1. And as a result, they bid up the price of the apple to $3. Now, this is a really simplified version of why inflation occurs, but the main point you want to know is that when demand exceeds supply, inflation occurs because the price increases as a result of the low supply. Okay, now let's talk about a real-life example of inflation that everybody just went through. So you might be wondering, so if the government prints money, does that cause inflation? Well, no, not exactly. There were special circumstances during COVID that caused inflation. The problem was there wasn't enough supply to balance out the printed money because a lot of people weren't working during COVID. All right, I just talked a lot about inflation. Now I'm just going to give you a brief summary of why it's important and the main points to know about it. So like I said, there's a lot of important points about inflation, but what you mainly want to know is that rising inflation causes the cost of goods and services to increase and it reduces purchasing power. Nobody's immune to inflation. As we just discussed, rising inflation means an increase to general good prices, and this can include clothes, gas, groceries, and almost everything you use in your life on a daily basis. Now let's discuss purchasing power. Simply put, purchasing power is how much your money's worth, and rising inflation can affect that massively. This is why it's really important to combat inflation with investing. So let's say you invested $10,000 and made 10%. That would be a $1,000 investment gain. But at the same time, inflation rose 3%. So that $1,000 gain is really only a $700 gain when you add up how much your money is actually worth because of rising inflation. You might be someone who doesn't want to start investing right now, but at some point you probably should because over all of human history, inflation has occurred. And over a long period of time, it always goes up, even though we have short-term periods where you have deflation. On to the Federal Reserve. So what is the Federal Reserve? The Federal Reserve is the central United States banking system. Fed's overall job is to manage monetary policy and the financial system, but today we're going to focus on how the Fed combats inflation. The main way the Fed combats inflation is by raising interest rates. Interest rates determine how much money people and businesses borrow. More borrowing stimulates the economy, and less borrowing slows down the economy. When inflation is on the rise, the Fed starts raising interest rates to slow borrowing. In the past year, the Fed has been raising interest rates by 0.25% every quarter. Then, when inflation starts to normalize, the Fed starts reducing rates slowly. Okay, so that's all the information I have on inflation today. I appreciate you watching, and if you want some more information about inflation and the Federal Reserve, visit our website, vernmanagementgroup.com, and we can answer any questions you have. Also, be on the lookout next week. We have a new video coming out discussing inflation and how it's affecting today's economy.